Hello, guys and girls. So, if you've made it this far to this section, I really want to appreciate you all for sticking around and believing in me as well. So, if you haven't come across my videos before, don't be afraid to subscribe because I post new videos every week on lots of tutorials, random tutorials, and depending on my mood and new things I've learned. Okay, so in this video, we are going to be working on using the random modules in Python. Okay, so without much talk, let's get started. So my text editor is open and I hope yours is too, and you're ready to learn with your notes by your side and taking notes as well. So this is the thing that we're going to be covering in this tutorial. All the things. So random modules won't take time, but I brought out my time to make sure I covered every single thing you need to understand in working with random modules. So this is everything we're going to be covering in this video, and this is the practice challenge we'll be working together at the end of this video. Okay, so let's get started. So the first thing, I just gave a brief explanation on what I think a Python random module is and its usefulness. So the random module lets us generate random numbers, shuffle items, and make random choices as well. So it's super useful for games, simulations, lotteries, password generators, and so much more. So it's not that important, but it's very good if you have an idea of it, because I won't say it's not important. It's just partially though. So you have to have like a brief idea on Python random modules. Okay, so the first thing we are going to be doing is we are going to import an inbuilt Python module. So that's why I'm working with PyCharm on this, so we can import it as an inbuilt Python module. So we can just print import random, and boom, that's it. So once you just put this import random, that's all basically all you need to get to work with the random module. Just import random. So take note of that. So now the first thing we're going to be doing is generate a random float between 0 and 1. A random float between 0 and 1. Okay, so what it basically means is that when you generate a random number like this, let's say you call the random module dot random. So what it means is you're calling the random module the inbuilt function in Python and passing it a function that it should just generate a random number. Like for instance, if you don't specify this, like if you say something like this, random, you're calling the random module right here. So random dot generate a random number. So just think of this like generating a random number. So random dot generates a random number. So you didn't specify the numbers that it should generate. So basically all it does is generate a number from 0 to 1, including decimals. Okay, let's print this out because it won't do anything. We have to print something out. It's not returning a value. So I'll print this, I'll cover this around with print, and I would run the program right now like this. So you see it's wait, what's the problem? Print random dot random. Why is it generating something like this? Wait, hold on, I'll run it again. Yeah, boom. So that's it. I don't know, maybe it was confused at the beginning or something. So it's meant to generate a random float between 0 and 1. So if you keep running the number, it keeps generating a random float, between 0 and 1. You can see it's just giving 0.1619, 0.736. So it can't generate 1. It's not that it doesn't generate 1, it's just that it's generating only float numbers because you didn't specify the numbers it should generate. Okay, so that's that's just the first thing you need to know. So if you just call the random function and tell it to generate a random number, it just assumes that it's from 0 to 0.9999999, because you didn't like add an integer or something like that. So if you keep running the code, it keeps generating from 0 to 1. Okay, so the next thing we're going to be doing is I will just go up further a little bit. So the next thing is generate a random number between two values, inclusive. So the reason I added this inclusive here is to show you that in our for for loops, so you can check out my for loops video. When working with for loops, the last value you pass to it is exclusive. So Python just like if you say something like for I in range 1 to 11, it just generates from 1 to 10. But that's different for random. So when working with random, let's say we'll call the random module that we imported earlier in this video. So random.randint. Now you are telling Python that you want to generate a random integer. So you can see the warning sign here. So which random integer do you want to generate, from which number to which number? You have to let Python know. So you say I want to generate from 1 to 10. So this basically generates from 1 to 10. It doesn't exclude the last number, like unlike for loops, because for loops excludes the last number. So this is just it. So you print a random integer between two values, and that's it. So this is just the random integer you're going to be printing. Okay, so now let's print it to see what happens. So I'll just cover this around our prints, and I will run this, and you see it generates 7. I think I should increase this a little bit, and I'll just cancel anyone we are done with. So I'll cancel this because we are done with the first comment, and I'll just escape this. And yeah, I think I'll zoom this a little bit. I think Control Hmm. Okay. Sorry. So if you're working with the time, once you import time, so you don't need to know this because this is a random series. So I just have to I just wanted to make it more cool. So you can do time dot sleep, not just time. So time dot sleep. So that's it. So if you sleep for like 10 seconds, I think 10 seconds is too big. Let's say 5. So now what we are going to do is just a simple thing. I imported time, so we'll just do see the list. So we'll now randomly shuffle the list. It will sleep for 5 seconds, then print the list of stuff that's shuffled. Okay, let's run the program for the phone part. So you can see red, blue, green, yellow shuffling. Then it prints out the thing, the shuffled list. Okay, so you can just play around with it, make something more cool, and do your best to try to understand it. Okay, so the next thing, I'll just delete this and delete this because we don't need it, and I'll delete this prints, we don't need it, and I'll just delete this time we imported earlier in Python. Then we'll now go for the next thing. So use the next thing is to use random seed. So random seed, we don't need this list as well, so I'll just delete it and I'll escape it so we can have a very big screen. So I'll just delete. Okay. So use random seed. So the next thing, the random seed to get repeatable randomness. So this thing is like if you want to trick somebody in a random generator, or let's say you have yeah, making a game on a Ludo or anything that you want, but you want to cheat on it, you can just use the random seed like this. So if you do random dot seed and you say let's specify five times seed, I mean say not seed. So then you print random, sorry, randint. We're going to generate a random integer from 1 to 100 like this. Okay, so now let's print it so you see what happens. So if I run this program, you see 80. So if I continue running it, you keep seeing 80, it keeps generating 80, keeps generating 80, keeps generating 80. Okay, so if I change, let me see if I can change this, maybe 74, 74, 74, 74, 74. She said, so if I change this, 8, 8, 8, 8. So if you want it to like generate a random number, a particular random number, so you can just specify, okay, it's just like a trick, and you can just say 30, maybe to the let me see if it can work. 70, 70, 70, 70. Okay, so that's just basically it. So you can just play around with it and see, have more cool functionality on how the random module works. So again, explaining the random module, the random module lets us generate random numbers, shuffle items, and make random choices. It is very useful for game simulation, lotteries, password generators, and more. Okay, let's go to the practice. Okay, Okay, so this our practice challenge. So the first thing we're going to do, I just made it easy, so we'll just play around with it, and this video won't take that long. Okay, so build a random game helper. Ask the user for their name. Firstly, since you saw it's like a random something, you have to import. You have to import random. Then the next thing, ask the user for their name. So I just added this for this. So I'll call it user name is equals, so inputs, enter your name, like this. So the next thing we're going to be doing is greet them. Greet. Okay, we'll greet them later. So roll a dice 1 to 6. So it dies. So I'll just call it dice roller is equals. So use the random module dot randint, and I'll generate a random integer from 1 to 6. Okay. So next thing, pick a random color from a list. Why do I use color in this one again? We have worked with color too much. So I'll just call it colors. I'll just say call it user colors like this is equals. So I'll just give red, or we can make it more cool. Like we'll ask the user to enter their colors, and if they enter the colors, we'll like add it to the list and then generate a random color for the list and tell the user, boom, this is your random color that I chose for you or something like that. But I'll just use this. So you can just play around with it though. So I'll just make this blue. I'll make this green, and I'll make this yellow like this. Okay. So the next thing, I'll just say I'll now call. So the next thing is pick a random color from the list. So I'll now call random color would be the name of this. Random color is equals. So I'll now call it as random.choice. Then which choice from users colors, and boom, that's it. So now we'll show the results. I'll show results like this. So the next thing, print the results. So I'll tell the user print. I'm going to be using the printf. So I'll do air and like this. So I'll see hello. So I'll call the username hello, and I'll say print f, and I'll say you rolled a dice roller, because it's going to say you rolled a 1, or you say you rolled a 2, or you rolled a 3 or something. So you rolled a dice roller, and I'll now print f again, not this, and I'll print this, and I'll say your lucky color today is, and I'll call it random color like this. So that's basically everything they need you to do in this practice. So build a random game helper, ask the user for their name, greet them, roll a random dice, pick a random color from a list, and print the result nicely. So that's just basically everything you need to know. So if I run this program, I'll just zoom it down a little bit, and I'll run it. So you see, enter your name, and I'll say Charles, Kelvin. So you see, hello Charles, you rolled a 3, your lucky color today is green. Okay, you say that. So you can play around it with it, like you can say, you can use the while loop until the user generates row a 6, then you quit, or you can use the while loop, or you can ask the user for colors, put it into a list, and do anything you want to do with it. But make sure you add like a very good understanding on the random module. Okay. So that brings us to the end of this random tutorial. I told you guys it won't take time, it won't take a lot of time on this. So if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Remember, your feedbacks help me create better, much content for you all. And see you guys in my next video.